So it is spooky time, Halloween time, time to get spoopy, all that stuff. If you know me, you know I love Halloween. Everyone's doing like these 31 days of Halloween challenges and I want to be a part of it. So I'm going to do 31 days of Halloween movies. So to kick things off, we are going to get started with a favorite. I'm sure it's one of yours. If it's not, it should be Hocus Pocus. I grew up with this movie. I think I was around 6 or 7 when it came out. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker. I think that had to be probably one of my first movie crushes, like along with Pam from Martin or Cameron Diaz in The Mask. You know what I'm talking about. With that aside, it's just good fun, you know? You got the zombie, you got Thackeray Binks. His name isn't Zachary, it's Thackeray. That's weird. It's a wacky, fun little piece of Halloween comedy that I think you would all enjoy. So go check it out. Hocus Pocus. Day 2 of 31 Days of Halloween is dedicated to It, 1990. This is based off of Stephen King's book. They presented this in 2 parts. It wasn't a movie, it was more of a TV series thing. It stars the legend actor Tim Curry. Legendary actor Tim Curry. But it's about a entity that inhabits this really horrible town and it resides there and it has for a long time and it dwells off of how horrible this town is. It presents itself as a clown, so it's enticing to children. Tim Curry's version of it was so impactful just because he was so nice. He didn't really look that mean. Tim Curry's performance just drives home just how scary a clown can be when it doesn't look like it's supposed to be scary. It's a little bit long, but trust me, it is a great horror movie and perfect thing to watch during Halloween time. You know, go ahead and check out the other movie. You might like it too, but for me, it's all about the 1990 version. But you don't have to take my word for it. I'm spending day 3 of 31 Days of Horror watching Get Out. This was released in 2017 and was a major hit. For so many reasons that I can go into, but just to name a few, there's racism, slavery, missing persons, there's psychological trauma, all of this stuff just rolled up into a really well done horror movie. When this came out, a lot of people said this was the new blueprint for horror movies or a new kind of horror movie. And it's about a group of white people who capture black people and use their bodies for whatever they want. Daniel Kaluuya plays a photographer and they want his eyes. When it was released in the theaters, I didn't really want to go see it. The hype, kind of took me away from that, and I think I'm a little bit of a horror hipster. But I checked it out and man, it blew me away. I can't say I've seen anything like it. There's an actor in this movie that went on to do a few other things that I really like. Uncut Gems was one of them. He starred as Kevin Garnett's friend. What is that guy's name? Hold on. Lakeith Stanfield. Oh man, he is so good. This is definitely not for the family. I think it's rated R. If it's not, it should be. But it's super scary and super intense. Really intense moments where something's just not right with these people and you just get like this creepy feeling that this is weird. And it all comes crashing down in the end in this really cool climax. So go check out Get Out. All right, we're rolling into day 4 with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci in Sleepy Hollow. Man, I think I've seen this movie like 200 times. If you don't watch this movie during Halloween or some form of the Headless Horseman, is it really Halloween? This Sleepy Hollow is just so Interesting. Johnny Depp and Tim Burton are always going to make a great combo. But when you throw in Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman, I just can't help but think about all the funny things that Christopher Walken does. I got a disease, and the only cure is more cowbell. That's all I see when I see this guy rolling around like cutting people's heads off and stuff. It's a Halloween classic. I think they wrote this movie for Halloween. It's Halloween as candy corn, even though no one eats candy corn. They've got candy corn from like 1980 somewhere, and that's the candy corn that they're using today. They don't make candy corn anymore. Just go watch Sleepy Hollow. John Carpenter's Halloween. This is about a young boy who kills his sister on Halloween night and is ultimately sent away for a very long time. He escapes and comes back to the house to finish the job. But when he gets back to the house, there is a high school girl there and he starts to stalk her. This high school student is played by Jamie Lee Curtis. This is a really early Jamie Lee Curtis movie, so if you're a fan of hers, you should definitely see it. The whole movie's got a Halloween vibe. I mean, it's what the title of the movie is. There are jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. There are Halloween themes, decorations. It's got really cool visuals. It's got atmosphere. It's got really good pacing. It's even got that really cool piano. That one. All in all, it's a straight up good horror movie. You don't talk about Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees without talking about Michael Myers. It's one of the original slasher movies. Rob Zombie came in and did one or two of these. I thought they were okay. So if you're into that old school kind of horror flick, this is definitely something you should check out. Day 6, Ernest Scared Stupid. I think I've watched this movie every Halloween that I can remember. So much nostalgia when I think about this movie. Ernest was such a part of my childhood, and probably yours too. I know this is a Halloween thing, but Ernest had Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest Goes to Camp. What are the other ones? I don't know, but there were like 5 Ernest movies. But Ernest Scared Stupid is about Ernest saving this town from trolls. Jim Varney is Ernest. Eartha Kitt is in it too. I just can't talk about just how nostalgic this is. I am gonna go watch it right now. Bye. Day 7, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. To be honest, I don't really watch this movie too often. I only find myself really talking about it when someone brings it up to be true. That movie isn't based on a true story. It's more so based on several different events. I know they drew a lot of inspiration from the serial killer Ed Gein with, Leatherface's infatuation with skin. It makes for a really interesting piece of cinema. It was really effective in making it seem like it was real, but it's about a group of kids who are on a road trip. They pick up a hitchhiker who takes them back to this house where things really start to get messed up. If you can stomach the gore, I'd say it's definitely worth watching during this Halloween season, so go check it out. Day 8 goes out to Hotel Transylvania. I'm just gonna say all the Hotel Transylvania movies on this one. I've got a few nephews and I can remember watching this movie with all of them at some point. I think there are enough of them at this point where I could safely say that. Yeah, I gotta throw a shout out to the little nephews. Just makes you feel like a kid again watching all that stuff. You grow up with the werewolf and the mummy and Dracula, and it just kind of rekindles your imagination, and this is good Halloween stuff. This is something everybody can watch. Normally not like an Adam Sandler fan, but not bad, Adam. Not bad. So Eddie, Anthony, get the boys, put on some Hotel Transylvania, let them know Uncle Justin said what's up. Hey guys, day 9, Candyman. Oh man. When I tell you this movie scared the hell out of me, it scared the hell out of me. The hell was in my body, I watched Candyman, and then it was gone. So real quick, it's about a woman who's investigating the urban legend of Candyman. Now, Candyman was the son of a slave and fell in love with a white woman, and at the time, that was a big no-no. They chopped off his hand, they covered him in honey, and he was killed by bees. No, not the bees! Not the bees! It's now common day, and there are a string of murders in the housing project of Cabrini Green. So the urban legend is if you say his name 5 times into a mirror, he will appear and kill you with his signature hook. I know I'm doing a lot of smiling, but I'm actually terrified inside. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what your max bench press is, how many haunted houses you've been to, how many scary movies you've seen. This movie will scare you. And if you're a dog person, which most of you are, there's a scene that might not sit too well with you, but it's still a great horror movie. You wanna watch Candyman? No? Okay. We are at day 10 with Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice! I wish. Michael Keaton stars as the titular character himself. This movie came out before Michael Keaton did Batman. So whenever they announced him as Batman, there was a lot of backlash because they had thought him to be a funny guy, you know, a comedian, because he was, and he's really, really funny. But he killed it as Batman, and he is my Batman. But this is about Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is a ghost who pretty much likes to cause as much chaos as possible. A husband and wife die in a house, their souls remain in the house, and they hire Beetlejuice to get the people who move in to move out of the house. He markets himself as the world's leading bioexorcist. Now he does all sorts of things to try and get them out. This is a Tim Burton movie, so it's super creepy, it's super dark, it's super funny. This has got some really good actors and actresses in it. I don't know all of their names right now. Winona Ryder, Alec Baldwin, and all of these people. It's a comedy with some very dark themes, and it's really fun. Who doesn't like Beetlejuice? So if you got some extra time tonight, this is a good one. Check it out. Say it once, say it twice, take a chance and roll the dice. Ride with the moon in the dead of night. Everybody scream in our town of heart. So I'm sure you know what today's movie is. The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is personally my favorite movie to watch during Halloween. I remember having the VHS and watching this all the time with my brothers. Didn't matter if it was Halloween, Christmas, Easter. We watched it all the time, and especially during Halloween. We knew all the words, still know all of the words. If you want to see a 32-year-old man with his face 2 inches away from the TV screen singing joyfully for an hour and a half, just play this movie in my general area. It's about Jack, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town. He becomes disillusioned by his title and frankly just wants to find something else. He stumbles across Christmas Land and finds it to be everything that he wanted. He becomes so passionate about it that he wants it for himself and goes a little bit crazy in the process. This is a Henry Selick movie that paved the way for movies like Coraline. He was also the director for James and the Giant Peach. This movie holds a very, very, very special place in my heart. When people say movies are classics, I think that term gets overused a lot. This is truly a classic. It has stood the test of time. Your children probably know about this movie. You've probably introduced them to it. If you have, good on you. I would say that this movie is culturally significant as far as film goes. It's pretty much a musical, and every character's got their song, and they're so unique. Jack has got several songs as the main character. Sally's got a song. She's got a couple songs with Jack. Oogie Boogie has a really fun song. Rolling the dice. Boogie's Boys have that really cool song. I think my favorite song in the movie is the Making Christmas song. When all the monsters are making the toys and they're about to deliver Christmas to the world. Making Christmas, making Christmas, making Christmas. So before I end up repeating this entire movie to you, because I will, I'm gonna end it and tell you to go watch it and have a good Sunday. And good luck to all your football teams today. My team is coming off of a lose from the Browns, so I'm not so hopeful. But those are my boys. See ya. Yeah, I was there with a few other people. I don't know who. I can't remember. What? How am I sus? No. Red, you sus. Cuz. No, Do you guys hear that? 31 Days of Halloween Movies, Day 12. The one and only A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is one of the first horror movies that really scared me and really got to me. There was no way you were going to sleep after watching this movie. You'd go to sleep and be up all night just praying that Freddy doesn't come out and get you. Freddy Krueger is a child killer who was burned by all of the parents on Elm Street. In an act of true vengeance, he comes back from the dead to attack the children of the parents who killed him. But he wasn't getting them while they were awake. He could only get you in your dreams. And truly, I think that's why it was so effective with me, and probably for you too, when you couldn't go to sleep, because where could you go? You go to sleep, he gets you. If you stay awake, you're probably gonna be late for school, and then your mom will get you. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place whenever you watch this movie. Robert Englund plays the iconic Freddy Krueger. Heather Langenkamp plays Nancy. This movie also stars a very young Johnny Depp as Nancy's boyfriend. Now, the Nightmare on Elm Street series went on to make a lot of movies. As the series progressed, Freddy tended to get less scary and more funny. Yeah, I just started cracking all these jokes and stuff. I don't really know where it came from, but whatever. But nonetheless, Freddy Krueger is an icon. So if you've seen any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, which ones are your favorites? What are some of your favorite Freddy Krueger jokes or one-liners? Let me know. I'd love to hear them. I know I've got a few. See ya. Do you like the 80s? What about Leslie Nielsen? Do you like synthwave? Maybe giant gorilla boxes hiding in crates are your thing. The Day 13's movie is right up your alley. Yes, today we are talking about Creepshow. Creepshow is actually in my top 5 greatest movies of all time. To be exact, it is number 5. This piece of art celebrates the union of two of horror's most celebrated writers and directors, respectively, Stephen King and George A. Romero. This is an anthology film that includes some of the wackiest and coolest visuals, music, and acting, and I am here for it. Let's see, there's The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill, there's The Crate, there's They're Creeping Up on You, Father's Day, and Something to Tide You Over. The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill is about a guy living on a farm, a meteor crashes, and all hell breaks loose. Something to Tide You Over is about jealousy and kidnap. The Crate is about a monster living in a crate who has an insatiable appetite and will eat just about anything. They're Creeping Up on You is about a very rich but very bad guy living in a high-rise apartment, and he gets infested with cockroaches. And Father's Day is just about that, Father's Day. If you can imagine all of the lights and sounds and colors and music and wackiness from the 80s just kind of thrown up onto this really cool horror concept, this is what this movie is. And I think that's why I like it so much. It doesn't really take itself that seriously at all. So if you're in the market for some synthy, wacky, colorful, crazy goodness for this Halloween season, you should check out Creepshow. What the hell is that? Meteor sh**. Day 14 is dedicated to the Addams Family. I've always been very curious of the Addams Family. Like, are they ghosts? Are they like supernatural? Are they zombies? Are they dead? Are they alive? You don't really know, but who cares? Those movies are fun, man. In my opinion, they are the quintessential Halloween family. Now, I know you've got the Munsters and whatever, but the Addams Family just kind of represents Halloween to me. Let's see, we got Gomez, Wednesday, Morticia, Pugsley, Uncle Fester, Thing, Cousin It, and Lurch. And they've all got these really Halloween-esque characteristics. I mean, Morticia sounds like Mortician. Lurch is pretty much representative of Frankenstein's monster. Cousin It is something. Uncle Fester is always doing some type of crazy experiment that should kill him. And Wednesday just straight up drinks poison. Yo, shout out to Wednesday. Wednesday is a real one though. In the second movie, they tried to cast her as Pocahontas and she kept it real. And another shout out to my man Gomez. He's always looking fly in his pinstripes. I've even got mine on today, you know. I'm not as clean as him, but I'm trying though. There were 2 feature movies. There was a cartoon show. There was an Addams Family Halloween special, and I even think they just made a new Addams Family movie. So in the movies, you got Raul Julia as Gomez, you have Angelica Houston as Morticia, Christopher Lloyd plays Uncle Fester. Uncle Fester seems to be the center point for both of these movies. He's always doing something that gets the family into this predicament. The first movie, he was brainwashed and was coached into trying to steal the family's money. And in the second film, he was brainwashed by Joan Cusack into pretty much taking the family's money. I mean, what else can I say? It's the Addams Family. Yeah, you've seen it, right? But if you haven't, you should. Later. 31 Days of Halloween Movies, Day 15. Now, today is a very special day. Not only because it's my... Hold on. Hey. Today's movie isn't about Star Wars, I just wanted to wear this. Yes, today is a special day. Not only because it's my birthday, but we're also talking about the first horror movie I ever watched. And that movie is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. You know, funny story, my mom called me this morning to wish me a happy birthday. And she follows my Facebook and my Instagram, and she sees when I post my videos and stuff. So she asked, what video are you gonna be doing today? I told her Shaun of the Dead or something like that, and she's like, why don't you do Killer Clowns from Outer Space? I said, you know what? I am. So not only am I celebrating one of my first horror experiences, I also celebrate this day with my mom. Because if she hadn't have done what she did 33 years ago to this day, I wouldn't be able to make these videos or watch horror movies. So thanks, Mom. So back to the movie. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is about as cheesy as cheese gets. And yes, it's exactly what the title says. They're killer clowns from outer space. They look scary as hell. They shoot popcorn guns. They've got cotton candy guns that they shoot and wrap you up into a cocoon. And so what they do is they fly in on their flying saucer circus thing. They take over the planet. They suck everybody's blood and then they leave. Yeah, really, I think this was my first horror movie. I mean, besides watching Michael Jackson's Thriller, which definitely counts as a horror movie, and I really do want to cover that, Killer Clowns is probably the first one. It's a great B movie. It's like the king of the B movies. This has got a cult following. I'm actually part of it. See? Got my Killer Clowns from Outer Space on my vest right here. It's just wacky. I use that word a lot, wacky, but this movie is wacky. Go check it out. And lastly, thank you guys for all the birthday wishes. I see them coming in on Facebook, and it's great to see, you know, some faces I haven't seen in a long time. So yeah, thanks. Today on 31 Days of Halloween Movies, we are going to talk about Resident Evil. Now, many of you probably know about Resident Evil because of its popularity as a video game. But in the early 2000s, they did start making movies. In short, the video game is about a group of special agents finding this mansion. There's like a whole conspiracy about taking over the world and super soldiers and experiments. It's a really cool concept, and I can see why it got so popular. Now, the movies were about that too, but with one small change. The introduction of Alice. In the movie, our first impression of her is that she has nothing to do with this and she's just a victim like everyone else. But we do find out that she actually has been working with Umbrella, the company behind everything, and is a trained agent and kind of a badass. And the movie primarily centers on her and every movie after that. So the whole thing starts when a virus gets out in this underground facility. The facility's AI recognizes that it can't let the virus get out, so it kills everyone. And in the mansion above the facility is Alice. Now, she's been rendered unconscious by some kind of gas, so she doesn't really know what's going on, and we don't know either. A group of special agents storm the mansion and find Alice, and thus begins their descent into the Hive, which is the underground facility. As a young person, I didn't really know how to handle this transition from the original Resident Evil to this new Resident Evil to include Alice. I think I ultimately deemed it a thumbs down and pushed it to the side because I think it just veered off a little bit too much. But as an adult now, I'm looking back at this movie and it is a really, really good horror movie. But you don't have to listen to just me. Correspondent Juana Bell is standing by in Raccoon City to deliver her review of the movie. Juana, what did you think?
Justin, reporting live from Raccoon City. Juana Bell here. Reporting that Alice was just released maybe a few hours ago. She managed to make her escape, and so far there's been no sightings of her. Okay, actually I'm just going to give my spiel about the movie, but I'm not a sci-fi fanatic or really a movie fanatic if it's not a drama or rom-com. Really not into it. But I did watch this movie, and I watched it in its entirety as I did laundry. I thought it was actually really good. It did certainly keep my attention. My favorite part was where there's like a whole city underground, and people have no idea that, or are they even people? I don't know. If they are underground or not, because it looks exactly like a city, but they're completely underground. I thought that was a really cool touch. And it just kind of gives corporate America a little bit of that false sense of reality. So I thought that was a really nice spin on the movie. It certainly terrified me towards the end when there were zombies. I'm just not a scary kind of person. The dogs scared the daylights out of me, and I couldn't look at my dog for a few days. So, yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. Mila Jovovich, I had a hard time remembering that this was not a continuation of The Fifth Element, but I definitely kept that in mind as I was going. I think she kind of plays the same role a few times, but it was a really good movie all in all. I would say certainly watch it. Done.
Thank you, Juana. I know right now it's on Amazon. I think it's still on Netflix. So there are plenty of ways to watch it. You should definitely check it out this weekend. It's really, really cool. See ya. "31 Days of Halloween Movies, Day 18. I think I'm gonna watch Child's Play today. You know, up until now, I've covered a lot of different horror movies, but they've all tended to have, you know, some theme that's sort of the same, you know, slasher, killer, some supernatural thing, some sort of creature or being. But this movie is about a doll, and I'm not really sure if I would consider him possessed, but maybe after I explain the plot, you can make that decision for me and we can find out together. So it starts with this criminal Charles Lee Ray being chased through the city by the police. He's shot, and before he dies, he transfers his body into this doll. He ends up going home to this boy named Andy. Now, Chucky has been talking to Andy behind his mom's back, so Andy looks crazy when he's telling his mom that Chucky is talking to him. Now, things get a little bit more serious when Andy starts saying Chucky is going to do bad things, and Chucky's saying bad things to him. And as people start becoming more suspicious, Chucky then has to start protecting himself. And he does so in the most brutal of ways. Up until this point, every villain and bad guy I've talked about has probably been, you know, 5, 6 and taller. Chucky's about like 3 feet tall. I mean, he's a doll. Very, very, very scary movie. Very popular. It went on to have 2 direct sequels and then a bunch of different spin-offs and sequels, and you know, all the way from Child's Play up until like Cult of Chucky. Chucky has looked relatively scary, and they kept his look relatively consistent. But this new 2019 Chucky, what the hell? What is that? I don't even know, like why? Anyway, I haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure it's not good, but this is about the original Child's Play. And just like always, I would say if you got the time, it's worth a watch. Have a good one. Oh yeah. So I actually linked up with my man Adam this weekend, and he got me these really sweet Street Fighter pop figures for my birthday. So yeah, it's really cool. I like Street Fighter and Balrog and Ken, so yeah, pretty sweet. Thanks, dude. See ya. 31 Days of Halloween Movies, Day 19. It's getting cold. I got my sweater on. You know, it's actually snowing today. It's just making watching all these scary movies even better. I got my Halloween decorations out, and you know, I was playing with this one earlier, and I thought like this pumpkin's got like a weird shaped head. Look at it. It's like a weird shaped head. And then I started thinking, you know, do pumpkins have heads? You know, is it its head, like if it doesn't have a body, you know, or is this its body and this it's just a face on like a body? Whatever. I don't know. But anyway, it gave me a great idea for the movie I should watch today. Day 19 goes to Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead is a late 80s supernatural horror movie, and it goes a little something like this. So our main character, Ed Harley's son, is tragically killed in an accident, and he wants to bring him back to life by going to this witch in this town. Now the witch says, I can't really do that, but if you want revenge, I can get you that. And he's like, All right, cool. So she tells him to go dig up a body and bring it back to her. So he gets the body, brings it back to her, and it transforms into this huge monster called Pumpkinhead. Now, Pumpkinhead is a monster of vengeance, and he goes after all of the people that were involved in his kid's death. Now, after Pumpkinhead kills a few people, he starts to feel bad and wants to stop. Now, that is a big no-no. You don't stop Pumpkinhead once he starts going, because he is killing people that have done something wrong, and he is all about that. So the more he starts to interfere with Pumpkinhead's killing spree, the more he starts to realize how alike he and Pumpkinhead truly are. So that concept right there just kind of tells you this is pretty serious, you know, like what is the cost of true vengeance? This movie is directed by Stan Winston. This is actually Stan Winston's directorial debut. Stan Winston is a legendary character maker. I salute Stan Winston. He created Terminator, Predator, Avatar, Iron Man, Jurassic Park. This guy has created some of the most iconic characters and monsters. The Thing. One of my favorite movies ever. The practical effects on The Thing are like the pinnacle of practical effects in the movies, and I don't want to get off on that tangent. I've got that on another day, actually. Stan Winston is a genius. Sadly, he passed away in 2008, but his legacy still goes on in many ways. There are schools, institutes that, you know, teach people how to create monsters and, you know, explore their creativity in, you know, special effects and that stuff. So it's super, super cool. I mean, this is super Halloween esque. The guy's name is Pumpkinhead. It's pretty heavy, but the practical effects and like the monster in it are top notch. So yeah, again, shout out to Stan Winston. I hope you're staying warm wherever you are and enjoying the Halloween season by watching some really spooky movies with the people that you enjoy most. Bye. Man, it's been a while since I listened to that song. I was just having to, yeah. Hey guys, so if you've been following me for these past 3 weeks, you know I've been watching horror movies and sharing them with you. And today, I'm going to continue to do just that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty lucky today. I don't know, it could be the green in my flannel here. So 31 Days of Halloween Movies, Day 21, we are watching Leprechaun. Now, I know it's not St. Patrick's Day, but this is still a pretty scary movie, and I'm wearing green, so, you know, yeah. So Leprechaun follows a father and daughter as they move into a farmhouse that they are renting. Now, little do they know that in the basement of this farmhouse, there has been something in a box waiting for 10 years. Now, what's in this box just happens to be a leprechaun who's really pissed off about some gold that was stolen from him, from the guy who trapped him there 10 years ago. Now, the only thing holding the leprechaun inside this box is a small 4-leafed clover. In the process of moving, I don't really remember if it's Tori or her dad, or one of the other characters, who knocks over the 4-leaf clover and the leprechaun gets out. Now, not only is this a horror movie, this is also sort of a comedy as well. This was originally written to be a straight horror movie, but Warwick Davis, the actor who plays the leprechaun, wanted to include some comedy into his role. Now, you might have noticed that Tori looks a little bit like Jennifer Aniston. And if you're curious about that, that's because that is Jennifer Aniston. This is Jennifer Aniston's first big role. Now, she's come to, you know, be a little bit embarrassed about the movie, but I find it a little bit endearing about her. And to be honest, I have a theory that if it weren't for Leprechaun, we wouldn't know Jennifer Aniston as we know her today. Shortly after her role in Leprechaun, in 1994, she started Friends. Thank you, Leprechaun, Jennifer Aniston. That's my theory. I mean, there's not really much to say about this horror comedy besides, you know, it only had a $1 million budget and made about $9 million, although it had severely negative reviews. And it went on to make quite a few other movies. I know there's Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun 3 in Las Vegas, Leprechaun 4 in space, Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood, and I think there's like some weird Leprechaun movie. So as you can see, Warwick Davis wanted to have a lot of fun with this role. I mean, if you've seen any of the other movies after Leprechaun 1, it's it's almost purely comedy. It's cheesy and it's good. You know, it's a little bit scary too. They're just stupid and I love it. So yeah, go find one of the Leprechaun movies and check them out. You know, any of them. They're funny. But I mean, if you like Jennifer Aniston, check out the first one. It's cool to see her, you know, in her first, you know, kind of movie. So yeah, bye. Welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween Movies. And you know, for today, I wanted to watch one of the greats. Now, I know from like the 70s through the 90s, there are plenty of movies that I could choose from that are considered greats. But today I wanted to explore one of the great horror movies of recent years. Now, I know I've already covered the revolutionary Get Out. This is directed by the great Jordan Peele and considered to be one of the best horror movies of the decade. But if you go back another 3 years, there is a great horror movie that stands out and did for me what I think Get Out did for a lot of people. And that was sort of rejuvenate the horror genre and give it something new and refreshing. And that movie is It Follows. It Follows is about a girl named Jay who has sex with her new boyfriend. Shortly after, her boyfriend tells her that she has just been passed a curse. Now this curse is fatal and very interesting about how it gets to you. This is where it gets good. This curse is always walking toward you. It may look like a friend, it could look like a total stranger, but it's always coming toward you, and when it gets to you, it's going to kill you. Now here's the kicker. You pass the curse on by having sex with another person. Now only the people who have this curse can see this being. It's invisible to everyone else. So as the movie progresses and people start doing things, you get to see this curse in action. And I'm telling you right now, it's one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen on film. It's like the atmosphere and like the cinematography just make when this thing appears the most horrific and chilling thing I think I've ever seen, and more so than Get Out or anything like that. Now, this is also accompanied by a fantastic soundtrack by Disasterpeace. The soundtrack for It Follows is in my top 3 most favorite soundtracks ever. Albums ever, CDs ever. Check that out too. But this movie is fantastic. The directing is so nuanced. The cinematography is fantastic. And you know, it even does this thing where it plays with you, where it doesn't even tell you or let you know what time period this movie takes place in, which makes it so much more cool because your imagination gets to go wild there. Now, whatever social commentary you think this movie makes, I'm not sure. I don't know. But it's such a refreshing concept on horror, and it does such a good job at doing it that I would say, yeah, it's definitely one of the best horror movies I've seen in the decade. Yeah, if you really want to get scared, watch It Follows. It is a very scary, very intense, very atmospheric movie that is sure to get your goosebumps going. So, bye. What's up, everybody? We are moving along with 31 Days of Halloween Movies, and today I think I'm gonna keep my theme going from yesterday. So if you remember yesterday, I wanted to start getting into some of the better horror movies of the past decade. I talked about 3 years ago, 2017's Get Out. And my review yesterday was about 2014's It Follows. Now today, I'm kind of realizing that if you go back another 3 years, there's yet another horror movie that did what the other 2 movies had done. And that's kind of revolutionized, or if not, you know, provide some sort of breath of fresh air, if you will, to the horror genre. And that movie in 2011 was The Cabin in the Woods. If there's one word that I can use to describe this movie, it's just fun. Fun. So it's about 5 college students that go to a cabin in the woods. They stumble upon a basement with all these artifacts that look a little bit creepy, and they start to mess with them. Now, all the while, they're being watched by this government agency that's looking to sacrifice them. This government agency is somewhat connected to a cult, and in order to properly sacrifice the kids, they need to fit these 5 character traits. So none of the students fit these traits, but they have to in order to be sacrificed. So as they're watching them play with these trinkets, they're taking bets on what trinket they'll choose, because all the kids have different ones. And depending on what trinket they choose, the agency is going to send up some sort of monster. And I'm telling you, they've got a lot of monsters, every single monster you can think of. Now, as these monsters start terrorizing the kids in the cabin, they need them to fit these different character traits. So they're using all sorts of things like pheromone to get them to act in a particular way. So these 5 traits are present in a lot of really generic horror movies. So you think the jock, the slutty girl, the really smart guy, the really innocent, pretty girl, and like the lazy stoner or whatever. So the cast for this movie is really great too. There's Kristen Connolly, Jesse Williams, Anna Hutchinson, and Chris Hemsworth. So yeah, you Thor fanboys and girls can watch your boy get down and kill some zombies if you want to. It's really fun. Yeah, so the biggest thing I can say about this movie is that it's very fun. It's really not that scary or terrorizing, but it's just so fun. If you're into monsters, this does not disappoint. Really, it's like going to a haunted house. And you're not going to a haunted house this year anyway, so you might as well just watch this movie. It's the same thing. Bye. Happy Friday! Guess who made it? You made it. Welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween Movies. If you've been watching, you know that I have been covering the best horror movies of the past decade. I found so much enjoyment in going back and checking out those movies that really made me rethink how I thought about horror. But today I want to talk about a movie that was so impactful, and it's probably not for the reasons that you're thinking. This movie was just so funny and made me laugh and laugh and laugh. And just when you thought they had done everything they could for zombie movies and you'd seen every plot and every scenario for a zombie movie, this movie came out of left field and totally laid me flat. It killed me as far as its comedy. Shaun of the Dead. I mean, I'll tell you like straight up, I was not even thinking about zombie movies. I had thought, all right, George Romero is, done making movies. Zack Snyder made Dawn of the Dead or whatever, and then Shaun of the Dead. I was almost convinced that zombie movies had nowhere to go and that we'd kind of explored everything we could. Shaun of the Dead follows Shaun. He's a little bit of a slacker, but he means well. His girlfriend dumps him and he's at a dead-end job and he just really wants to change. And after he hits rock bottom, he's kind of thrusted in this position to be the hero and does a really good job. This movie is filled with all sorts of jokes, comedy, one-liners. It still holds up to this day. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost make a great duo in this movie. And I can tell you as like a little emo horror nerd, photography nerd or whatever back in 2004, this did everything for me. So if you're looking to pass some time during the quarantine and you want to laugh your ass off, watch Shaun of the Dead. But if you're looking for a more long-term plan, I suppose you could get pajama pants, go to a refrigerator, get beer, sit down with a blanket, put on Netflix, and wait for all this to blow over. 31 Days of Halloween Movies, Day 24. The Evil Dead. I remember watching this a lot in high school. I watched a lot of indie movies back then, and this was one of my favorites. And it's about a guy named Ashley Williams and his friends who go to a cabin. In the basement of the cabin, they find this book, the Book of the Dead, along with a recording. Now this recording plays this incantation over and over and over, and ultimately ends up bringing back this evil spirit. One by one, all the people in the cabin are becoming possessed. And ultimately, Ashley ends up fighting them off throughout the night. Now again, this is a super indie movie, so all the special effects are cheesy and super dated, but it still remains a cult classic for those reasons exactly. Ashley, or Ash Williams, is played by Bruce Campbell, who went on to be the only character to appear in every single iteration of The Evil Dead. That's Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, TV show, whatever other stuff they made, Bruce Campbell's been there for it all. But if I were to suggest one of the many Evil Dead movies to watch, I would probably suggest Army of Darkness. That is such a funny movie. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is written and directed by Sam Raimi. So if you know Sam Raimi, you know that he also did Spider-Man. Kind of interesting to see the path that he took, huh? Kind of like Peter Jackson. We all know him for doing the Lord of the Rings movies, but the guy started off doing things like Dead Alive, which is not anything like Lord of the Rings. But I digress. The Evil Dead is very, very spooky. And again, while the special effects are a little bit dated, they're still very effective and make this movie very scary. But yeah, check it out. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Bye. Hey everyone, Justin Bell here. And welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween Movies. Day 25, The Craft. It's a very popular supernatural horror movie from the 90s. It's about a girl named Sarah who goes to a new school. Sarah is a little bit awkward and doesn't really make friends easily. But when she gets to this new school, she meets 3 other girls who are kind of in the same boat. Now, Sarah has powers, and the girls don't really know that until they see her levitating a pencil one day in class. These 3 other girls are part of a coven and think Sarah will make a good 4th. They all come together to summon this deity called Manon. Manon gives them powers, and they start casting spells on all of the people who have wronged them. Initially, everything goes according to plan, but their spells ultimately end up backfiring and their whole worlds just start crumbling. So to all of you witches out there, and yes, I'm talking to you guys too, be wary of the spells you cast. They might just come back to get you. If you're a goth in the 90s or had goth friends, you probably know about this movie, and it was probably very influential for you. You know, it was the movie for everyone that was ever picked on or made fun of for wearing black or listening to The Cure or, you know, just being different. We got to see all of those people pay. And to be honest, I kind of liked it. This movie stars Fairuza Balk, Robin Tunney, Neve Campbell, Rachel True, Kristen Taylor, Breckin Meyer. Honestly, the list goes on, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people. I know I am, but that's generally the main cast. Now, I know what you're thinking. Justin, I wasn't born in the 90s. I don't know what you're talking about. You're old. But that's okay. You know why? Because you're in luck. They are remaking The Craft. It is called The Craft Legacy, and it is coming out on the 28th of this month. I've been following it, I've seen the trailers, and it looks pretty good, and I'm all ready for it. And my last note, to anyone who's feeling strange or freaky or like a weirdo, and if anyone tells you to watch out for the weirdos, be sure to tell them we are the weirdos, mister. See ya. Yes! If that jam brought back some nostalgia and got you ready to go fight Vigo and the slime at the museum, you already know what movie we're talking about today. Ghostbusters 2. Not Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2. The plot in Ghostbusters 2 is that the Ghostbusters have been disbanded. They did a lot of damage in New York City in the first movie and kind of fell out of popularity. But New York City is a really bad place, and all of these negative emotions have manifest in the slime, kind of traveling in the sewer below the city. Now the Ghostbusters catch on and start doing what they do, and get arrested. But some ghosts show up during the trial, and the Ghostbusters have to do what they do again, and everybody's like, yes, please, Ghostbusters, save us. So a little side note, this evil ruler of Carpathia, Vigo, has come back and is trying to find new life in this baby. At the time, this was considered pretty much a clone of the first movie and got a lot of negative reviews. But I don't care, it's awesome. It's very Halloween, there's ghosts flying around everywhere, people shooting beams and stuff. What's not to like about it? And of course, the killer track by Bobby Brown, On Our Own. That's the name of the song I was jamming to at the beginning. It's got the Ghostbusters cast with so many other people. If you like Rick Moranis, he's in it again and does a great job as always. Slimer's in it again too. He's doing his thing. Oh wow, there's a squirrel. Oh, I love this movie a lot. I grew up watching it. I still watch it, and I think you should watch it too. Take care. 31 Days of Halloween Movies, day 28. We are coming down to the last few days, so I'm sure you're wondering, what else is there to cover? On day 28, I'm watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's only a matter of time before I got to this movie. I wanted to save it to the end because I know a lot of you are waiting with anticipation. This is a 1975 horror comedy musical. It's about a couple who gets a flat tire and they stumble upon this castle where these people are holding this convention. Now, this isn't a normal convention, this is a Transylvanian convention. And at its head is Dr. Frankenfurter, played by Tim Curry. Dr. Frankenfurter is the sweet transvestite from Transylvania. Dr. Frankenfurter is kind of a Dr. Victor Frankenstein of sorts, and in his opinion has created life in the form of Rocky. The whole thing's filled with song and dance and all these numbers and stuff. It's one of the best times you can have watching a movie. It's very fun. Now, aside from the movie itself, it has generated a huge cult following. Honestly, probably one of the biggest movie cult followings I can think of right now. There are tons of conventions. If you go to a Halloween party, there's bound to be one Dr. Frankenfurter Halloween costume somewhere. And if not, another one of the characters. I even remember being kind of swept up into it a little bit too. In high school, I remember going to live performances at movie theaters and you would be included. It was very interactive and very social. But yeah, couldn't let Halloween go by, couldn't let spooky season go by without talking about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This movie has left a huge cultural significance, a huge cultural impression in many different communities, and I don't really think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Bye. Welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween Movies. Today is day 29. You know, I've always believed that women have made the horror genre what it is today. Their contributions toward acting, writing, special effects, and directing have been monumental, and the genre would not be where it is today without them. Day 29 goes out to Queen of the Damned. This is an early 2000s vampire movie. It kind of gets forgotten about, but I'm here to bring it back. It's about this vampire Lestat who comes back from the dead after listening to metal music. Now he digs this and starts performing himself and starts a band. The lyrics in his music bring back Akasha, the Queen of the Damned. She has a plan to take over the world, but some other vampires don't really want that to go down. Now, of course, this stars Aaliyah as Akasha, the Queen of the Damned. You know, it's not super too often that there are very iconic black horror characters, and it's even less common when they're women. So this did several things for me watching this movie. Now, of course, I'm sure you all know this was her last movie before passing away in late 2001. I believe this is just yet another one of the many treasures she's left behind for us, and honestly is a true treasure to a black horror fan, you know. The last time I watched it, I think it was on Amazon or Netflix, one of the two. Highly recommended horror movie. Didn't get the best ratings, but I mean, Aaliyah's in it. Come on. Bye. Welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween Movies. Day 30, Coraline. I can't tell you how many times I have watched this movie. It is such a fun little adventure. As you all know, I am a big fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas. So another Henry Selick stop motion movie is something I'm really into. This is about a girl named Coraline whose parents don't really treat her well. They're very, very into their work and don't really give Coraline too much attention. When they move into this new house, Coraline essentially finds this portal into another world where she meets her other mother. Her other mother gives her all the attention in the world, all the food, all the everything. But Coraline soon finds that all of this love comes at a very, very high price. Coraline is very headstrong, very outspoken, and pretty courageous. So you find yourself rooting for her throughout the entire movie. And with that aside, it's decorated with all of these colors and creative and imaginative monsters and creatures. And for all of you bibliophiles out there, Coraline's actually a really good book too. I highly suggest it if you like the movie or if you want to check the movie out after watching this. You can read it in a sitting. It's really not long at all. If you want to take your time, it might be a couple hours. But yeah, it's great. It gets my seal of approval. Bye. Happy Halloween! We made it! It's been a long time coming. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been following me for this past month. It's been a lot of fun watching and reviewing these horror movies and sharing my experiences with you, and you sharing your experiences with me. That was my main goal in doing this, and you have made that happen, so thank you so much to everyone. Day 31, The Basement. This is a short horror film about a guy who hears a sound in his basement and goes to check it out. Now, this stars up-and-coming actor Zach Bonacorsi as the man who investigates the sound in the basement. Originally from Springfield, Illinois, he's currently operating out of Atlanta, Georgia. It just so happens that I had the pleasure to direct this film and work with Zach. So a little backstory. I was working on a photo shoot with him, and as we were wrapping up the photo shoot, the place we were shooting had this really cool basement. I had always wanted to shoot a horror movie and finally had the opportunity to do it. So Zach and his wife so graciously lent their time and talent for about an hour or so, and we shot the basement. So as my tribute to you, my friends and family, I want to premiere this now. Very special thanks to Zach and Jess. We shot this a while back and quarantine's given me some time to go back and edit it. So from my family to yours, have a fun, happy, and safe Halloween and enjoy the show.
that suicide. That's what they got Martin Luther King Jr. So that set off a firestorm on social media. The Marana City Council of Rochester after an internal investigation over the weekend, Patel was fired by WACC. 2 games due now from Rochester. Thank you for joining us. So, all right, so before we get to the conversation, you explain to me.
Hey, I heard a sound in the basement, so I checked it out. Whoa, hey. Whoa, hey. Hey, what are you doing? Open the door!